have written the very history of this nation's most popular sport and have been at the heart of most of its traditions. Last week, another family extended its dynasty as young Johnny Sauter made the folks back home in Necedah, Wisconsin sit up and take notice. Among them, his father Jim, who started their tradition of ASA racing in 1978. The father of 12, 4 of them drivers, took the checkers 7 times, setting the bar plenty high for those who followed. Next came eldest son Jay, who was always a threat and scored repeated top 5 and top 10 finishes. His chief contribution to his family's growing persona was his breakthrough 92 victory at Berlin Raceway, bringing an end to 20 years of Michigan drivers winning that event. Then son number 2 got the good people of the Badger State really talking. After dominating, as his dad had, the local Wisconsin scene, Tim took the leap to the big time and scored not only 6 victories, but captured the 1999 ASA National Championship as well. What had been a tradition was turning into racing legend. Finally, legend started to change to lore, as Johnny Sauter, while celebrating his 23rd birthday, showed everyone on the track and in the stands just how it was done. It was only his 20th race in this, the world's most prestigious short track stock car racing series, and he was already the talk of the pits. So it was with the exuberance of youth that the 4th member to carry his family's name to the winner's circle proclaimed his victory and took his rightful place as one of the sensational Sauters. Welcome to round number 6 of 20 in the 2001 AC-Delco ASA Racing Series, a coast-to-coast $6 million short track attack championship. We're in Montgomery, Alabama, and we're ready to race.
Ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls of all ages, it's Sunday, May 6, 2001 at Montgomery Motor Speedway. Time for the ASA Actionline Alabama 200. Gentlemen, start your engines!
Bob Harmon, the first promoter of racing in Montgomery, Alabama, enjoying his early Sunday afternoon with that specific command to start the engines, and all those GM Vortec engines spring to life down along the front straightaway here at the Montgomery Motor Speedway. There's the newest member of the Sauter line of victors. It's Johnny. His 2001 season to date has really been something, with 2 poles and that enormous win at Hawkeye Downs. And earlier, our Bob Dillner caught up with the hard-charging driver of that distinctive blue, number 9.
Chris, that win last week took a lot of pressure off of Johnny Sauter. You see In God We Trust on the dashboard. That is a Sauter family tradition. Johnny's dad, Jim, had that on his dashboard when he raced in ASA. 4 Sauters in victory lane. You didn't realize that when you climbed out of the car last week, did you?
Not really, Bob. You're the one that brought it to my attention, but it's pretty awesome to be able to compete in ASA and my family as well, and to be able to end up in victory lane just like they did. Hopefully we can keep the streak today going with this AP Performance Chevrolet Monte Carlo. It's going to be an awesome race here in Montgomery, Alabama.
Keep an eye on this guy. Johnny Sauter starts 9th today in the number 9 car.
In the sunshine, Bob Dillner will be manning our post in pit road along with Sandy Hang, those 2 colleagues working for us down there. I'm Chris McClure. I'm in the booth alongside Buddy Baker as we welcome you to the Actionline 300 here at the Montgomery Motor Speedway. 32 are about to take the green flag for this second visit of the ASA Racing Series to this speedway. The man on the pole, a bit of a surprise, his first outing in ASA racing. It's Greg Edwards from Hokuson, Virginia. And Gary St. Amant, the defending series champion, on the outside of the row. Then Butch Miller and Scott Hansen in row number 2, a couple of veterans there. Tim Taylor and Joey Clanton in row number 3. Then Tommy Grimes and Chris Wimmer. Johnny Sauter, last week's victor, Victor and Mike Garvey, who won at Lakeland earlier this year, occupy row number 5 and on down through the list. Buddy Baker, one thing we have to watch for today, there is heat. The drivers will get fatigued. Secondly, a difficult track for tire management.
It is that. It's almost like a cheese grater, and it is just wearing the tires out. Less than 100 laps of fabric was showing through yesterday.
A lot of pit road activity is anticipated. It will be a tactical race. Many, many tire changes before it's all said and done. It's the Actionline 300. We're about to get it underway, so stay right there. ASA Racing from Montgomery is brought to you by BF Goodrich Tire. Take control. And by Fram Filters. Pay a little more now or pay a lot later. Welcome back to the Actionline 300. The field is rolling, warming up the tires, checking their systems. We're entering the second quarter of the 2001 campaign. Before we do that, let's check in on the BFG POV.
Hey, I'm okay. But if you see this net outside the car, that lets the corner workers know everything's fine with the driver. You'll see it outside the car. They can take their time getting to the driver. He's all right. But if that stays up, that means the driver's bell has been rung. He needs the help. Get out here quick. Help me. I need you. Now, let me tell you something else it does. If you hit that outside wall with the driver's side, you need this baby to keep your head inside the car so it does not come out like that. Bob Dillner?
Buddy, safety a concern for everybody involved in racing. That's why when the track came apart in turns 1 and 2 last year, concrete was poured down. But there's both good and bad points to this concrete. The good point, it gives the tires more grip, enabling drivers to pass more off the corner. But the bad point is, if you hit this patch the wrong way, it's going to wear your tires down very quickly. Sandy?
Bob, Mike Miller, the driver of the number 18 Jana King Pontiac, is the driver who conquered those concrete patches last year to take a win. It was also his pit lane strategy that made the difference. He put on fresh right sides with only 54 laps to go. Mike would like to repeat here, and he really needs it. He hasn't claimed a checkered flag yet this year. Chris?
Well, Sandy, you'd think if he continues to drive the way he has, he's going to find a checkered flag sooner or later. Consider this. He's one of 2 drivers in the series that's completed all 1,400 laps of competition. Who's the other one? Well, he drives the number 52 Myers Pontiac. His name is Butch Miller. And that effort has earned him the points lead with a quarter of the season gone. That's today's BFG POV. There's number 83, 2 times a winner this year, Joey Clanton. Does it look a little different? Well, it is, and Sandy found a reason why that is.
Don't adjust the chroma on your TV set. Joey Clanton has given up the bold gold and blue for purple passion. Scott Napa on board with Zaxby's Real Chicken now, and the passion also has performance. They don't call this the 007 James Bond special for nothing.
Meantime, the field is in control of Greg Edwards on the straightaway. And the flagman, Tom Powell, says yes. And the Actionline 300 is underway. And Williams is not, or Greg Edwards is not able to hold on to the lead in the first corner.
Exactly right. Gary St. Amant got a great jump there in the 7 car, but now Edwards fights back as they go down in turn 3, though. Gary St. Amant has the spot.
He has the lead as they come down to complete lap number 1 of 300 in a race that we anticipate will encompass a great deal of input from the crew chiefs and the pit crews and a lot of tire changes, particularly on the right side. Number 7 in the wins machine, that is Gary St. Amant, who's already won 1 time this year. He's leading the way and drawing away ever so slightly from Edwards.
Chris, one thing all the drivers are talking about is the excessive tire wear because of the track being so abrasive. So it's going to come down to the driver that's on the gas, easy, does not spin the rear tires, and tire management will be so important today.
In the middle of the back straightaway, a big pack of them. Matt Sealski, the number 10 machine, down to the inside. And we go on board with Kevin Sawinski, who started well back on the grid in 19th grid spot. Pretty tough weekend for him.
Yes, and just in front of him, if you don't recognize that car, it's his first start. That was Wayne Anderson in the number 86 car on the outside there, black and white.
Also carrying the Jana King sponsorship, just like number 18, Mike Miller, the veteran of this series. Right there, you see number 12, the blue and green and white machine of Kenny Phillips. Right behind him, the 00 of Scott Frazier, who struggled the last couple of outings just a little bit. The young man from Shubenacadie, Nova Scotia. And also there, number 5, the white car in the middle of the frame, that is Scott Hansen. Keep a close eye on him. The number 26 machine is that of Greg Edwards. Let's go to Bob Dillner. He's got more in the pits.
Well, Edwards is running second right now, but the last time we saw that car, this guy was in the car at South Boston, Virginia, and you ran 6th. You're the consultant for Greg today. What are you going to tell him? What advice are you giving him?
Well, we're going to just try to keep him calm there. It's going to be a long race. Pretty hot out here today. Big thing I'm going to do is try to help him get in and out of the pits here clean, and hopefully we can have a good finish with this Danny's Glass Vortec Power Chevrolet. We'll just see what happens. We want to make all 300 laps and try to get us a good finish here.
Guys, we've spoken about family. Well, the family tradition continues down here in the Edwards pit.
Well, Edwards pulls up right behind Gary St. Amant. That's quite a racing family, buddy.
Yes, it is. And I was talking to the dad yesterday, and I said, what about this kid? We don't know much about him, Greg Edwards. He said he's won 99.9% of the go-kart races that he ran in when he was a kid. Pretty good, huh?
Well, that's a significant number, no matter what the series, no matter what kind of a machinery you have beneath you. Butch Miller in the 3rd position, riding along with him. And down to the inside, Edwards has a little bit of a peak. He's on the attack, trying to answer back. He dropped the lead from pole into the first corner of this race. But Butch Miller and Edwards are now going through Gary St. Amant, and Scott Hansen's coming along for the ride. They have St. Amant hung out to dry.
I think Gary St. Amant realizes that he's wearing the tires and running a little bit harder than maybe he wants to ride. This is what you call when you set a pace in a race. Now, he might have a problem, but I don't think so. He's pretty smart on short track.
Also, the Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet of Joey Clanton, number 83, coming along. So there are the first 2 in this race now, Edwards and Miller in the Myers car. Butch Miller, you're riding on board with him. Danny's Glass, named for the dad, Danny Edwards, who was here at the track in the company of the rest of the family, putting this whole thing together, and it's been a great effort so far, as he's now back on the point where he started when they gave the order to fire engines.
Watching the groove they're running just on the bottom of the racetrack, back in the throttle at this point, trying not to light up the rear tires and making smoke, because if you do, it affects the car getting into the next corner. So you have to be very smooth on a short track.
Very often they'll hang that left side, especially the left front, over the edge of the pavement down low in the corner, and that helps them get off the corner and turn the car. How's that work?
But I tell you, you're watching right now Butch Miller in the 52 putting some heat on Edwards as they go down in the corner, and Butch Miller is a master at picking the throttle up and getting off corners.
There's Danny Edwards. We heard from him just a moment ago. Butch Miller now drifts back just a little bit off the pace as they string out on the front straightaway. That looks like a Sauter coming along there as he's on the attack against Tommy Grimes in the Weissenbach Incorporated Chevrolet. He got through him. Did you like that?
I like that a lot.
He got through that. Johnny Sauter right now is running in the 10th position, so he's actually backed up 1 spot since the beginning of the race. Didn't get a particularly good start, but now, as we work leader lap number 14, he seems to have gathered it up and has at least passed his way back up the track to 9th position, getting around Grimes. Look back from Mike Garvey there. We go back to the lead, and Butch Miller has an idea. He'd like to go to the front, and he's going to.
No problem. He took the preferred lower line getting off that corner, and Edwards was just hung out to dry right there. Butch Miller able to hold right down on the bottom of the racetrack, inches off the bottom, and boy, does he get a good forward bite as he comes down the straightaway.
You know, he's had a couple of poles this year, has Butch Miller. He's led some laps this year and went over the 10,000 laps led in his career, and now he is adding to his 10,038 lap total. Take a look at those at the top of the field. We have Miller, then Edwards, Clanton, Hansen, and St. Amant, the top 5. St. Amant slid back quickly to the 5th position off the race lead, but now has settled it back down. Tim Taylor, number 28, having a good run in the early going. He's in 6th, then Wimmer, Garvey, Sauter, and Grimes in the top 10.
And that little bit of time that we were talking, we had a change for the lead there. As we drop back to show you some of the cars back there, Edwards regains the lead. Butch Miller went down in the corner, moved over. You can see right now he's off the pace just a little bit, dropping back himself.
You think maybe he doesn't like the pace because of the tire issue that is facing every single one of them?
Well, I can tell you, Joey Clanton in 2nd place there, the 83 car that we talked about. If you don't recognize that paint job, it's brand new this week. But I will tell you one thing, it looked like the same car to me.
On the front straightaway they come, completing yet another lap. We've been green since the get-go, and 17 are in the books of 300 that are scheduled. It is Edwards on the point, followed by Clanton and Butch Miller. We're at the Actionline 300 in Montgomery, Alabama. Stay with us. It's wild. unpredictable and downright raw. Experience the excitement of cable television's top-rated show. WWF Raw is War. Tomorrow night at 9 Eastern and Pacific, right here on TNN. We are under a yellow flag at the Actionline 300 in Montgomery. We had a couple of cars get out of shape. Doug Stevens in the number 98 and number 55, Greg Williams. So they've slowed them all down. You know, teammates aren't always friends, but sometimes they are. Let's take a look at this week's ASA Snapshot.
We're both competitors also on the racquetball court. We use racquetball as our physical fitness routine. We each want to win. I know I do for sure, but we try not to hit each other too much with the balls and hurt each other. We both felt like we were getting a little out of shape, getting a little sluggish. Felt like we were carrying a little extra around the waist there. We use it more as a conditioning tool and kind of stress reliever. It also gives me and Kevin something to compete at during the day when we're not racing, and we have some pretty strong battles. We're really even. Mike will get on a streak where he'll win 4 or 5 games, and I'll get on a streak where I win a few games. So that makes it fun. You know, we go out there and beat it around, and we hit each other every now and then, but it's all in fun, and it's just a good way to stay in shape. A lot of times it seems like it goes to the last 2 points of the game, and it's really hard because you're always striving to be better, and I think we play each other so much that we kind of know each other's tendencies, so you're almost trying to outthink them more than you are outplaying them on the court. It's kind of funny because the closer the game gets, it's not like we get more intense, we start laughing more. I mean, we'll start playing and, you know, we'll get some shots that I'll think he'll never get to, and he gets it back, and all I can do is stand there and laugh. We play each other as hard on the racquetball court as we do on the racetrack.
I think they need to work on their footwork a little bit.
Well, they're working their feet right now here at Montgomery. The leader is still Joey Clanton, and Edwards in second. Scott Hansen has moved into the 3rd position since we went back to green 3 laps ago, Buddy Baker, as he just sailed beneath Butch Miller.
Absolutely, and you could see Joey Clanton as he started coming off the corner there, turn 4, the car in a drift as he started out, so he's leaning on those tires pretty hard. Whether that'll get him later on, we'll wait and see. But I tell you, he's gliding through the corners and it's sliding a little bit as he starts off.
Give Joey Clanton a good look at the speed shot here as they go on to the front straightaway into turn number 1. There goes Hansen. Gary St. Amant has latched on to the 5th position and sat right there over the last 20 laps or so. Then Tim Taylor in the 28 machine just behind the EMAS ambulance service Chevrolet. A good run for him in the early going. And now Kevin Sawinski is beginning to move forward. He had the 19th grid spot at the beginning, and he's moving forward in that beautiful Chevrolet, the Texas Roadhouse machine.
Also in the blue and white car there, that is Mike Cope, and he is very, very exciting. If he gets up near the front, you can count on him being a lot of fun to watch today.
Mike Cope and Mike Eddy had a brilliant duel last evening in the qualifying race. Cope was not able to hang on for the victory, but he did run well. He passed Eddy a couple times. He was repassed. It was great short track racing last night. Now he's trying to work his way up through the field from 23rd spot on the starting grid.
We have great racing all the way back through with cars running side by side now, trying to establish a second groove around this racetrack, as you can see just up in front there. Everybody right now hunting a place that they can take care of the tires, but also go very quick around the racetrack.
The 05 black machine up high there, that's a Chris Wimmer car, and he got kind of hung out as 2 or 3 went through him. 0-0, Scott Frazier in the King Freightline Chevrolet, and right behind him in the Myers machine, that was Mike Eddy also coming along. So there's Cope, Frazier, and Eddy in your frame right now.
Mike Eddy in the yellow car, number 11 there, just behind the last week's winner, Johnny Sauter.
That puts him in 9th position as he slides beneath Scott Frazier in the 0-0. So Mike Eddy has been able to climb his way into the top 10, coming from 21st starting position. That's pretty bold and steady move forward in the early going.
That's Mr. Short Track right there. 7-time national champion in ASA. Let me tell you, they call him the Polar Bear, and I found out in the race yesterday why. He never, ever gives up.
Bob Dillner?
Guys, we're going to see more pit stops here in Montgomery, Alabama. drama than we've seen all season. And the reason why, it's very, very hot here. We'll measure the track temperature, 122 degrees. Plus, take a look at this surface. Very, very rough. Expect up to 5 pit stops for all these teams here today.
Pretty abrasive racing circuit as we look at the lead. It's still Joey Clanton on the point with a couple of car lengths back to young Mr. Edwards in the 26th. Then a long way back, we go to Miller and Hansen and the rest of them. The front two have broken away a bit.
I think Butch Miller went up, made sure his car was good enough to lead, and now he's on that entire conservative run that we talked about.
Back to the pits in Sandy Hank.
Well, when they have the first pit stop done, Butch has picked a good location. Why? Right here on pit entrance.
We have a lot of space behind us so we can stop short. That way we can get out and not get locked in.
Pit strategy will be very important, and it's going to be a tight squeeze down here when they do come in for the first round of pit stops.
Sometimes, Buddy Baker, there's a debate on whether you want to be the first pit in or the last pit just before, so when you leave, you're on the racetrack. What do you prefer?
Well, the pole position guy always takes one at the far end.
Right. That's
going towards turn 1. That's so when they drop the jack, you're back on the racing surface and gone.
Butch Miller, Mike Eddy, Mike Miller, some of the veterans in the series as number 2. The Chad Wood machine makes his way off the racetrack. There you see Scott Hansen just behind Gary St. Amant in the Wins machine, and Tim Taylor and Mike Garvey in the Tecumseh car, and a spin out on the course. David Stremme in his second run this season has turned it sideways and drawn the second yellow of this event. I don't know if he hit
I noticed
anything.
that Greg Stewart was also very, very slow in that you see him coming around just behind Stremme there, so he was involved. No damage to the cars, though.
So they're able to continue. We're working leader lap number 41, and we've just gone under yellow for the second time on the day. Joey Clanton is the race leader at lap number 41. He took over the lead on lap 19, so he's been out there for a while. Here's what happened there, buddy.
Well, that short track racing there, Stremme gets sideways, and 33 is Stewart. He just spins out to keep from getting into it. No damage to either car.
So they caught it and continued. And in fact, Stewart stays out on the course. So we slow him down once again. Looks like a couple of them may be laying out for early pit stops. Clanton is the leader, then Edwards, Miller, St. Amant, and Hansen. We've got a long way to go, so stay right there. We're back under green. There is the race leader, Joey Clanton, followed by Mr. Edwards in the number 26. They're a half lap since they got back up to speed, Buddy Baker. And the two of them started pretty well equally. Gary St. Amant running in third now as Butch Miller peeled off and did an early pit stop for right side tires.
Well, you see Joey Clanton there. I mean, we've watched him just dominate racing this year, but Greg Edwards there, that's a new face here. First time he started in the ASA race this year. What a great job he's doing out there. A past champion at Langley Field right outside of Norfolk, Virginia.
Doing a terrific job, as you suggest. He lost the lead early, came back to lead, and then yielded it one more time. Clanton has led since lap number 19, and we're working on leader lap number 48 in this 300 lap, 150 mile event. It's a half mile around this racing course, which is typical for ASA racing. It's 16 degrees where they are now in turns 1 and 2, 14 at the other end. That's not too significant, buddy, but the entry into those corners is.
Well, you and I both walked this track earlier today, and where the problem is some of the rocks are coming out of the pavement itself, and it's making it very coarse. And I mean, you talk about grinding on these tires. It works on them pretty hard.
We looked at some of the tires that came off the cars on the 100-lap qualifier last night, and they were definitely abused.
Mike Cope, for instance, I mean, he stopped, and you could read the newspaper through one of the right front tires.
Number 75, that's young Mr. David Bonnet. You saw a glimpse of him there working in traffic as he's trying to pull up on the number 6 car. That's Tim J from Go-Go Racing. And also right there is Mike Cope. So we got Cope against Bonnet right now on the racetrack.
Yeah, as you watch these guys, you can really tell how much advantage you have with new tires. They're just slicing through the field right now. great grip as they start down in the corners.
Back downstairs, Bob Dillner.
Well, Mike Cope's kids, Megan and Travis, watching their dad out on the racetrack right now. Mike pitted during that last caution, and Mike says he's going to pit as many times as possible to change as many tires as possible. Already 190 degrees on this right front tire. And Buddy, you spoke about that. I think we're going to see temperatures above 200 here today and a lot of tire stops.
Yeah, the one thing that's keeping some of the temperature down is they're wearing so quickly that it does not have time to really build up. If they were not wearing as quick, it'd probably be well up into 240 already.
Mike Cope moving through Johnny's spot. Now, that's back in the 20th, 21st, 22nd position as they're trying to move forward from a diminished track position that they got because they did come into the pits, or Cope did anyway. There's a good look at Gary St. Amant. There's Mike Garvey, Hansen, and Johnny Sauter in that serial as they move through turn number 2.
Mike Eddy there in the 11, just behind them, Scott Frazier. All these guys right now, I think they're in a conservative mood right now. They're getting around yellow flag again.
And number 16, that is Russ Tuttle is involved. Also the 86 of Wayne Anderson in the Jana King car, a car that was completed just yesterday.
And David Bonnet was also in the 75 car there involved.
Take a look at him. We saw him turning up against the banking and getting going in the right direction. It looks like Tuttle may have taken the worst of it with that damage to the front end.
Well, they'll pull that fender off and he will be able to continue on. You can see the car is tracking pretty well as he goes down the back straightaway. They'll jerk that fender off, and probably the hood too. That's all removable stuff.
He's got a new crew member this week that people would recognize, certainly. Glenn Allen Jr. working with that team as he stepped away, at least from the moment, from competition. There we
he
take a look at
almost
what
got
happened.
stopped.
Wow.
Tuttle, and there goes Bonnet, who absolutely had nothing to do with the wreck. Locked the brakes up, made very well. When we say minor contact, that fiberglass fender's there. It does damage if you touch anything.
We're now under yellow for the 3rd time in the event and working leader lap number 56 at reduced speed. At the beginning of the race, it was a youngster named Greg Edwards who was on the point, but it didn't last very long as we review the opening 50 laps. Gary St. Amant was on the front row with him, and by the time they got off the second corner, he was on the point with Butch Miller and Scott Hansen in close tow. And then it was Edwards who answered back and retook the lead, at least momentarily, as he got to the front, and Butch Miller came along. In fact, several of them did, as St. Amant was sliding backward, and then Joey Clanton got through on lap number 19, and he continues on the point. A spin earlier, the number 98 machine of Doug Stevens and number 55 Greg Williams, they got going again. Number 98, the 83 car of Joey Clanton stayed out in front, and then it was Greg Williams that was spun along with number 22. That was David Stremme from South Bend, Indiana. No real damage there as they were able to continue. And now we have Scott Hansen as we look at the full field summary and some more pit stops. Buddy Baker, you've been watching that.
Boy, I tell you, it was a little bit scary there. The jackman from 16, Tuttle, ran out, and Scott Hansen made contact with him, knocked him down. He jumped up, never missed a beat, just got right up, jacked the car up. Now he's over there, no damage whatsoever to him. It was scary at the moment.
29th place belongs to David Bonnet, who's trying to recover from a spin. He was just avoiding contact a couple of moments ago as we go on board the pace car and look back at our race leader, Joey Clanton. As I mentioned, we're on lap number 58 now, under our 3rd yellow of the day. And Russ Tuttle in number 16, the Conseco Pontiac, is the one that has taken perhaps the most severe hit of the day. Let's go downstairs.
Matt Hall, Jackman for Russ Tuttle. You okay? Look at that rip. You just took a backflip right there.
Accidents happen, I guess, sometimes, but I'm in good shape.
He's in great shape. You went ahead, picked that thing up, ran around. You sure you okay?
I'm real sure. I'm squared away.
And this is why these guys work out for this, Buddy and Chris.
Wow, I tell you, that was scary just for a moment. You see right there, he went on about his job just like nothing happened. These guys are professionals, and believe you me, they work out like any other athlete.
Now, quickly in review as we continue to circle under the yellow flag, and Tuttle comes back in for additional service to his damaged race car. On lap 42, Butch Miller came in. The number 25 of Cope came in. Number 22, David Stremme came in. And Chad Wood also came in. The 33 car of Greg Stewart was in pit road, and Ricky Bryant. A couple of them went under the hood. All of them got right side tires. Now, on lap 56, under this current yellow flag, we had Scott Hansen came in, Ryan Hemphill came in, the number 10 of Matt Sealski. Butch Miller came back for a second stop and changed left side tires.
They got that complete car back together with good old duct tape to Tuttle's car. They didn't have to take any of that metal that I was talking about off the car. He's back underway now at full song.
And so is the entire field as they take the green flag, and Joey Clanton leads the charge onto the back straightaway with Edwards in second, then St. Amant, Garvey, and Johnny Sauter in the number 9 machine, the blue car there you see just to the right of the screen, straightening up on the straightaway now. He is in the 5th position with Mike Eddy just adrift to him in the 6th, then Scott Frazier, Sawinski Taylor, and Chris Wimmer. On board we are with Mike Garvey looking forward from the 4th position at the back of Gary St. Amant's car.
Talked to Mike Garvey just before the race, and he said, we're on a hard tire for the next 6 races. I love it. The driver has more input than they do when they are on the real soft compound tires, and he loves this. Look for him to be a factor.
B.F. Goodrich, they anticipated the potential excessive tire wear of this track and brought their harder compound, and it is the same tire they brought last year.
Absolutely, and Mike Garvey says, and you can see right now he's moving up on Gary St. Amant, running along there in 4th spot, doing a great job, and I'll guarantee you, you know from the past, when he gets up there, he likes to lead every lap.
Take a look in the upper left-hand corner. We got last lap speeds. Joey Clanton is drawing away 85.7, 85.1 for the second place car, 85 flat for the third place car, and on down the list. So Clanton has the hammer down, and he is drawing away. In fact, the front 6 now strung out at least a car length between each and every one of those positions. Let's go to Sandy Hang.
I'm with David Bonnet. The car is behind the wall. Looks like a broken drive shaft.
Yeah, shifted into 4th gear and it just snapped. Motor turned about 9,000, it felt like, but we'll try to fix it and try to get back out there.
We've been talking a lot about those concrete chunks in the track. You know this track better than anybody. Were you having any difficulty with it? What was it like for you?
No, I tell you, I've been trying to stay a little lower than that coming through there, and it's helped me a lot. We changed the car a bunch this morning and it helped it a bunch, but it's still rough, but it's not as bad as people say it is.
Okay, that's David Bonnet. His dad had 2 starts. Neil, great in ASA, took the checkered ones. That's exactly what David was hoping to do here today.
Good battle there shaping up. That is between Eddie and Sauter for 5th position. Sauter has had it for a while. Eddie wants it, and they go side by side. And Myers' number 11 gold car may have gotten it now. If you look from behind that fight through Kevin Sawinski's eyes.
Kevin Sawinski started 19th, and now he's up there in contention. He's moved all the way up to 7th spot, now going into 6th.
A lot of people have moved forward. The race leader, Joey Clanton, starts 6th. He's now 1st, 21st to 6th. The number 11 machine of Mike Eddy. Also, as the buddy just detailed, the forward movement of number 21, Kevin Sawinski. And of course, you do have to work the car a little harder to make up all that ground, and that puts your tires even at greater risk.
I think Kevin Sawinski has been the premier performer for the whole year. He's been up front so many times, just hasn't had any great luck. Has not won since 1997.
The season-ending race of that season was the last checkered flag he saw first. He looked like, for all the world, he was going to do it at Cedar Rapids, and then he got snake bit again. It's just as simple as that. Bad racing luck. We'll be back in just a moment. You're at the Actionline 300 with TNN. This is round 6 of the $6 million ASA AC-Delco series for 2001. This is the remaining schedule this year. A lot of terrific dates. Next up, 20th of May, Concord and Nashville, I-70. We've been to Cedar Rapids. We're going to go back there in August. Madison, Jennerstown. A long way to go. A lot of laps to burn before we crown a champion for 2001. We're back under yellow, and we've had a couple of cars get together. Number 12, Kenny Phillips, and number 33, Greg Stewart, are those involved to bring out this yellow, buddy.
Yeah, Greg's had a bad time of it. That's his 2nd spin today. Number 12 there, that's our local garbologist. He's a garbage man during the week. He says, hey, listen, I've serviced 1,000 houses a day. Not too good today, though. Oh, he hits the tires.
Right up against the end of the pit wall. Take another look at how it happened as he got down low, trying to hook at the edge of the pavement there. It helps you turn. Did he get bumped from? Yeah, well, I got a little help. He got a lot of help. We'll call that a lot of help. Number 22, David Stremme, drove right into the back of him. Now, checking up behind that was the 33 of Greg Stewart. So that's what transpired as he got going. Let's go down to the pits. The contenders and leaders have been coming in, and Sandy Hing's down there.
Any adjustments? There we go. Joey Clanton did come in to take on 2 right side tires. They did not make any adjustments. Butch Miller did not come in this time, but he has made 2 stops during this. It is part of their tire strategy. So let's go down to Bob Miller. Bob?
Gary St. Amant brought his Win Chevrolet down pit road. They changed right side tires and made a slight chassis adjustment because Gary didn't like the race car. Gary also has shingles here today. He is suffering through that inside this car in a very, very hot day. As far as Johnny Sauter, running 7th when he came down pit road, he got trapped and lost a lot of positions here on pit road with all the mess that was going on, guys.
But Joey Clanton comes back out not in front of Gary St. Amant. Let's see what happened here, Buddy Baker. He starts away.
Oh, he has to stop right there. That's Robbie Powell in the 63. He had to get on the brakes pretty hard there coming in. You can see Robbie trying to get in his pits there.
And that cost him positions on the track. And as they say in short track racing, track position is everything. He'll have to fight his way back. But we're certain, I think, at this point, he has the car that's capable of fighting back to the front.
Absolutely. And he's just behind Gary St. Amant, so it wasn't like he lost, a lap or two. He's right there when they start back under green.
We do have a few cars dropping down, and they'll head in. The 07 makes the turn as Brad Lemley heads for the pits. Also 22, David Stremme heading for the pits, and a few others. 98, Doug Stevens is moving into the pits as well. Now, first it was nose to tail, and then back to back. What's that mean?
It's all part of the bump and grind on the short track. Last week in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Mike Cope and Kevin Sawinski got together on the racetrack. Now they are standing heel to heel for the first time. They haven't spoken to each other. Kevin Sawinski, what's going to happen when that Texas Roadhouse Chevrolet gets near that number 25 car?
Well, Bob, we're at another short track today here, and you get what you give. So all I got to say is you better look out if I'm around that 25 car.
Kevin Sawinski obviously upset inside that car last week, pointed to Mike Cope. Mike, what's this all about?
Well, the difference between me and a lot of these cats is I can pitch and bat. A lot of them, it's a one-way street. So we'll just have to wait and see. Might get exciting. I've got a lot of cars just like he does, so it really doesn't matter to me.
Keep an eye. Mike Cope, Kevin Sawinski, the 21 of the 25 on the racetrack today. You never know what's going to happen.
I guarantee my dad just stood up and shook his fist. He was loving that.
Sawinski right now is running in the 10th position. Cope is a little bit further back, but he's got a heck of a race car. He's in 12th at the moment, so they may get close together on the track. In fact, are they? No, not quite just yet. Meantime, at the front, 02 Ryan Hemphill is listed as the leader. He has been out for a while as the other leaders, the earlier people like Clanton, pitted. He got in front, then Jedrzejek, Bryant, St. Amant runs 4th, then Clanton in the 5th position.
Watching these guys dice and pull right now, trying to get this track position back. You see Clanton's car jumping sideways as he starts down the back straightaway and down into turn 3, right against the grass as they go through there. You were riding with Mike Garvey, the number 1 car there.
Ryan Hemphill on the point. Joey Clanton is a little bit further back. Now here's that transition. Cement, asphalt, cement.
Watch him right here, though. The car really jumping down around. Probably the best lap he's had today coming off that corner because we were showing it. But nevertheless, it is very, very bumpy through there. You and I went down and looked at it this morning.
Ricky Bryant, the 35 car, the white car, caught out a little bit as the 26 of Greg Edwards comes through. Also Johnny Sauter and Sawinski right there. Then Scott Frazier, and just behind Frazier we have a man named Cope. So just a couple of spots separating those 2 contestants who got so together last week.
Yes, indeed. And right now Cope is on a mission just behind these guys as they come up through there. Gary St. Amant right on the bottom of the racetrack. Clanton, we have a yellow flag again. Problems in turns 3 and 4. A wheel runs across the racetrack, hits the inside wall, bounces back out towards the racetrack.
Now we have to discover who's without one wheel out there.
That was Tim Taylor, number 28.
Tim Taylor has been, wow, he really dropped down on the right rear there, and something else happened. I mean, it wasn't just the wheel falling off. You can look at the damage to the coachwork at the back of that machine. So we're under yellow one more time, the 5th time here in Montgomery. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Action Line 300 in Montgomery, Alabama. There's your race leader, 19-year-old Ryan Hemphill from Prospect, Pennsylvania. Bob Dillner.
Well, racing is also a family tradition for the Hemphill gang. Tori and Nikki are his sisters. His dad is his crew chief. As we go green here, Ryan is in the lead. Nikki, what do you think about your brother in the lead here in Montgomery?
It's new. It's kind of scary, but I like it.
Well, these guys are very excited. How about this, guys? 5 people on this crew that go over the wall. All are teenagers.
Well, they got a teenage driver, so that makes all the sense in the world. And right now they have a teenage driver at the front of this ASA race, and that's quite an accomplishment, Buddy Baker. But behind them, that is a whale of a battle. Joey Clanton against Tim J. He slid under Tim J, picked up a spot. Here comes Garvey against Tim J as well.
Absolutely. These guys are right on the bottom, and you see the 6th car there. He's just hung out to dry. He's having a tough time through the center part of the corner. Here comes Mike Eddy in the 11 car by. He's just going to get freight trained until he can get himself back to the bottom of the racetrack.
Needs to find a slot to go down. And Mike Garvey, we look back at him. The yellow car on the right, that's Eddy, and he has cleared Tim J completely. So Eddy now is stalking Mike Garvey from the back, and that is a battle for 3rd position and 4th position.
Check it out for the lead. Gary St. Amant, the 7 car there, running in 2nd, looking to the bottom side. Joey Clanton in the 83 there, a graduate of Georgia Tech. Also Rookie of the Year last year in ASA. Already won several races this year. He's on the move also. It's going to be tough for Hemphill to hold this lead.
He was clocking some really outstanding laps earlier on when he was still in the lead of this race. Joey Clanton may have the fastest car on the racetrack at the moment, although for the moment he's bottled up just a little bit behind Gary St. Amant, who's driven a pretty good race. He got a great start, led early, slid back to 5th, has fought his way back, and Hemphill washes out and moves up out of turn 2.
He lost traction there coming out of turn 4. Now watch what happens. He's hung on the outside. Clanton's coming. Mike Garvey just behind him. Boy, he'll probably end up about 5th spot before he gets back to the low side of the racetrack.
He's in the same position Tim J was a moment ago, and Eddy joins up. He's not going to leave him any kind of a seam as he's going to go underneath, he thinks, going into the next corner. And all of a sudden, Hemphill in the Argo Packing Chevrolet is caught well out, and again he swings wide, and that allows the number 26 machine, the man who was on pole, Greg Edwards, to also find a seam perhaps down underneath and pick up the spot against Hemphill, and I think he will in turn 4. There's Johnny Sauter as we look back from Kevin Sawinski.
His spotter should have told him to drop to the bottom as he got past there by the first 4 cars, and that would have secured that position. Right now, he is finally getting back down there, but no, Sawinski moves up on him. So as we look at Mike Cope and all these guys fighting their way through tremendous traffic in the back part of the race here, you see Fraser there in the 00. These guys are fighting like crazy back here, but the good racing all the way around the Speedway.
Number 52, the Myers Pontiac of Butch Miller. We've been watching him. He runs in the 10th spot now. Sandy Hang.
Well, I'm with Chip Caputo as crew chief. You've been in 3 times now. Right, left, right. What's with that?
Well, basically tire management. Right now the Meyer Vortec Power Pontiac's running well, but whoever has the 4 precious tires on at the end is probably going to win this race.
Oh, that's Chip Caputo. Butch Miller is crew chief.
Well, that's exactly what happened last year when Mike Miller came away with the win here, and it was because he got the late tire change at just the right time.
54 laps to go. He took on new right sides, and that was the story of the race. He went right on up and took command of the race. Sawinski and all these guys running a very, very steady pace as they gain on the leaders now, working their way up through traffic.
You see the bouncing of the cars as they work through turn 2 and up onto the straightaway. Now that is the Greg Edwards car under attack from Sawinski, who swings wide on the straightaway. Will he be able to slide through as they get down to the other end? We'll have to wait and see. He was able to do it, so Sawinski goes by. Johnny Sauter had an idea on the high side as well, but had to tuck in behind. He's looking for a seam to get in line right in front of Butch Miller right there.
Got a great race to the lead right now. Gary St. Amant in the 7 car. Being really challenged on the outside and inside. You can see the 83 there. Clanton going to the inside now. He looks to the outside, doing everything he can to get the leader to look up in the mirror and maybe miss his marks getting in the corner. Might even give him a little push there.
Well, that's not beyond the realm of possibility in this style of racing, I would suggest. Mike Eddy all over Garvey there for 3rd position, just behind that battle for the lead. So, and Garvey moves high into turn number 1. It looked like he lost grip there going into the corner, but he did not give up the spot.
And talking about Mike Eddy, he made that move. You can see him right now. He's moved all the way into 3rd spot. Great run by Mike Eddy. He told me, he says, I'll tell you one thing. I get to work on this car, get a little more familiar. He was out for almost a year, came back and won his first race, which was a qualifying race in South Boston. Hey, he's back in a big way, all the way into 3rd spot now.
Bob Dillner.
Some good old racing for Mike Eddy. Crew Chief Dave Sensible, what's going on?
Mike's just buying his time. The car's really good. On long runs, we're being better.
Dave says that Mike is not talking too much inside that car, but he is certainly wrestling that number 11 car around this racetrack right now.
And he's running in 3rd position. A little bit alone right now. Once he got through Garvey, he pulled away, and here's that battle at the front. Did they touch their buddy Baker? Not quite, I don't think, but awfully close.
These are good friends outside the race car, but right now, when you look in the mirror and you see Mike Eddy coming, you have to get moving, because I'll tell you one thing, there's not a more fierce competitor in the ASA division than Mike Eddy.
And he'll be in this fight before too long, but these two guys, hammer and tongue. Gary St. Amant, who, as Bob Dillner mentioned a moment ago, has shingles on his right leg. He's been treating it all weekend and still driving the race car. But in the heat with the driver's suit, chafing on that as he works his right leg, he said that's really a problem.
I was going to do my piece with the window net yesterday in Gary St. Amant's car, and he said, I have the shingles, but you're welcome to the car. And I said, no, I think I'll find another one. Thank you very much.
And into the corner they go. Still Gary St. Amant on the point. We have had 5 lead changes unofficially in the event, and my recollection is correct. I do believe five lead changes. This track provided a lot of lead changes last year before Mike Miller came away with the victory. It's doing the same again here today as we work on leader lap 111, and Tracy Sawinski urging her favorite on. St. Amant's the leader. We're in Montgomery. We'll be back. See the biggest stars in sports entertainment and get a behind-the-scenes look at what's going down in the World Wrestling Federation. WWF Superstars at Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern and Pacific. We're working leader lap number 120. Gary St. Amant is in the lead right now, but back at lap number 50, it was Joey Clanton on the point, and the best battle on the track was between Johnny Sauter and number 5, Scott Hansen. That was for 4th position. Then Mr. Tuttle and Mr. Anderson came together, and just sliding to a stop was David Bonnet. He did not touch that incident. That had brought out a yellow. Then Sauter and number 11, Mr. Eddy, were fighting it out. Kevin Sawinski looking in the back of the Myers car of Mike Eddy. There's a little bit of a bump there. That got the number 12 machine belonging to Kenny Phillips out of shape. He bumped his door against the end of the pit wall. Ryan Hemphill was the race leader at that point after a round of pit stops and the shuffling of positions. And then Tim Taylor lost a wheel, went up against the wall, damaged the car. And now we come down to Hemphill losing his position just a few moments ago. There is the race leader going into the front. That was number 7, Gary St. Amant. He stays there, but he's got a fight on his hands.
And this is just kind of calm right here. These guys are out there in 1st and 2nd kind of running along, but it's a war back for the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th spot right now. These guys have been bumping, slamming into each other just behind their race leaders.
Quickly in review, as you see them all moving down, St. Amant, Clanton, Garvey, Sawinski, and Eddy. That is our top 5. The Wins car in the frame there as they move down the front straightaway, concluding lap number 123. And here's the fight with Mike Eddy, Johnny Sauter, Mike Cope is in there, Russ Tuttle. The 16 car is around them, but not in the fight.
And the 52 there, Butch Miller, who is the points leader right now. These guys have been going at it like they're mad at each other. And the number 11 there, Mike Eddy, started in 21st spot, worked to 3rd, but look at Sauter on a mission. The number 9 car, winner last week out at Cedar Rapids. And right now, Mike Eddy might have used his tires up because he's sliding back. Mike Cope looking to the outside in the 25, just behind him, Butch Miller in the 52.
Once Sauter got through him for that 5th position, he sailed away. Butch Miller and Cope side by side just behind them as Ryan Hemphill, the 02 car, who was on the lead a little while ago because of the pit stop, he's now making a pit stop under green and falling further back.
That's a bad sign. When you get passed on a short track on the outside, Butch Miller goes by, Mike Cope looks to the outside. I would say right now that Eddy is in a lot of problems in the 11 car.
Here we go back up to the front, and Joey Clanton has gotten by Gary St. Amant for the lead in this event as we work leader lap number 128. 127 concluded, and it is Clanton who just got through for the lead. He had led part of the first 100 laps, a fair portion of it, had a very fast race car drawing away from the field. Now he's fought his way back to the front. Bob Dillner.
Well, Chris, we mentioned Gary St. Amant suffering from shingles. We're going to pull crew chief Bill McGowan down. How is Gary doing inside the car with the shingles?
Right now, he's not doing too bad. He's got a cool box with blowing cold air in his helmet and in his suit a little bit. But that only lasts about half, 3/4 of the race, so we won't know much till a little later.
And Bill just told me the temperatures inside that car right now, about 130 degrees.
Well, buddy, we saw earlier the track temperature itself, the pavement about 122 or so, 130 in the cars. Tire temperatures peaking out at about 220, at least on long runs this weekend. A lot of temperatures to work with and tires to manage.
How about Sawinski there in the 21? Started way back in the field, has worked his way all the way up now to 3rd spot. And right now, one of the quickest cars on the racetrack, Mike Garvey, his teammate, just moved over and let him go. And I think that's what Gary St. Amant in 2nd did also. He wants to run a pace. He does not want to go out there and get rid of his tires too quickly.
And Johnny Sauter's down to draw up on those two guys, Garvey and Sawinski. Sawinski running in 3rd. How far back did he start? 19th. That's a great leap forward for him. He's in the 21 there, the Texas Roadhouse machine on the left. On the right-hand side is the Tecumseh car that belongs to Mike Garvey, and Sauter will join him in the middle of the corner. You'll think, well, now we go on board with Mike Garvey, his teammate just ahead as they move down in front of the grandstand and complete another lap.
And Mike Eddy's dropped all the way down to 8th spot now, so he's paddling his way to the back. Used his tires up on that run towards the front.
Well, maybe he's going to have to consider, like Ryan Hemphill did just a moment ago, a green flag pit stop, because right now it doesn't look like we're going to pick up a yellow in a hurry, and he's got to do something in a hurry. Tim J is working on the course. That is the race leader. Joey Clanton moving by him. Sandy Hang, meantime, in the pits with more.
I'm with Gene Roberts as crew chief. He was right behind Gary St. Amant, and now he's dropped off. What's happening?
Well, the Steve Dow's Vortex Chevrolet has developed a little miss. We're not exactly sure what it is. The car's still real fast, but Joey says that it's a little flat, which with the conditions we've got this afternoon with the track, the tires are kind of going away and the times are slow and it's a little hard to hook up. It kind of plays into our advantage. So we're just kind of trying to make a decision on whether we want to come in or leave the track position, stay on the track and keep the track position. I told Joey a minute ago, you put a lot of gray hairs in my head this afternoon because we've got to make some serious choices here in a few minutes.
Okay, that's Joey Clanton's crew chief.
Clanton continues to sail along with St. Amant looking from the back. There's Johnny Sauter under attack now from Butch Miller, who had been behind him quite a bit, several car lengths a couple of moments ago, but now he's challenging for that 5th position. So the ebb and flow inside the top 10, just sensational. We've had 6 lead changes now in this event, and we are less than halfway through it. It is really short track racing at its best.
Yeah, this makes these guys with the Vortex motor a little nervous when they do start to skip, because they have a deactivator in the electric system there. When it starts to get to a certain temperature, it goes to 4 cylinders, so you won't hurt the motor. So, boy, If it starts skipping, you get nervous.
On board we are with Mike Garvey looking back at the Sauter and Miller battle. And Miller has gotten through Johnny Sauter, so sliding him back that one spot into the 6th position. Cope runs 7th, then Eddie, then Hansen, then Frazier. Looking there at the Garvey car with Butch Miller drawing down on him. You know, the consensus in pit road, Buddy Baker, was that the veterans would be better because of their experience at managing their tires and playing out the tactics in this kind of a race. That all those guys a little long in the tooth had big smiles on their faces.
Well, they don't get any more experience than right there. Butch Miller, this guy is what we talk about when you talk about short track racing, trying to make a move on the outside there and doing it pretty well. But you notice coming off the corner, a very straight line to 52 there, Butch Miller.
And Butch goes right on by, and here comes Johnny Sauter right behind. He said, heck, I'm going to catch me a tow here and see if I can go right by Mr. Garvey. They're in front of the grandstand now, and to the right, there goes Johnny Sauter into the corner, and he takes the space away. So now it's Garvey who's backing up a little.
Absolutely, and also we have to remember that the Sauter car has one of the great tire men of all times that works with him. Went through working with Dick Trickle for many years, and they're still working on that setup, but I'll guarantee that 9 car will be a factor all day long.
Race leader Joey Clanton picking up some traffic. Number 55, Greg Williams, just in front of him, but he's cleared him and is sailing on his way with Gary St. Amant, Sawinski, Miller, and Garvey all trying to catch up. We're in Montgomery, Alabama. It's the Actionline 300. Welcome back to Montgomery. 28-year-old Joey Clanton leads it. Kevin Sawinski is in 2nd position now, and Gary St. Amant in the Wins car is in the 3rd spot, so there's a little bit of a change there as the Texas Roadhouse machine was stalking and has now passed the Wins machine, at least for the moment. 4th place belongs to Butch Miller in the number 52 car. He's several car lengths adrift of that pack at the moment. As we reach the halfway point of this race, 151 laps of 300 have been concluded, and Joey Clanton continues to work on the point.
And losing about 4 or 5 car lengths every lap now to Sawinski. Sawinski may be about, well, he is 3/10 of a lap quicker right now, and pulling down is visible. There'll be a race for the lead this lap. As a matter of fact, he's right on his bumpers. We see Butch Miller going around the racetrack here.
And Sandy Heng, you have more from the pits.
I'm with Donna right now. This tire strategy is sure interesting, Donna. What was he saying before the race about it?
He was pretty excited. He had a good race car, but Butch's personality is go to the back and try to come to the front. It makes for some pretty exciting moments, though, in racing.
Hey, he likes it that way. He likes to work his way through the pack.
And Kevin Sawinski likes where he is now because it's on the point. You know, last week he was a contender through most of the Cedar Rapids event, got bumped late by Mike Cope, shuffled way back his finishing position after that event, 15th, and now we have a yellow flag and a big incident out on the course.
Scott Hansen, number 5. It's a problem out on the racetrack there. Yellow flags, and a lot of these guys were hunting this yellow flag because they were out of tires. Scott Hansen into the outside wall there. You can see the radiator broke and water running across the racetrack on the 5 car.
He had already fallen out of the top 10 after contending in the early going, and now is falling further and further back as they dispatch the safety crews to help him out. There's a look at the new race leader, Kevin Sawinski. We're in Montgomery, and we will be back. Back in Montgomery, full round of pit stops just being concluded. Pit road is nearly empty at the moment. The car you're looking at right now is that of number 12, Kenny Phillips. Let's check into the pits with Sandy Heng.
Well, a frustrating day here for Scott Hansen. What happened out there?
Tire blew. You know, I don't know if anybody else is going to have problems, but I highly suggest that everybody takes them off because the car wasn't too bad and just went down in there and just blew. I'm sure the sidewall blew out if it got too hot, but it's the way the year's going. Started out good and it's going downhill, so we'll come back next week, see what we can do.
Okay, that's some tough luck for Scott Hansen.
There's Joey Clanton. He is listed in first position once again. He's led nearly 500 laps this year and won a couple of races. Let's go to Bob Dillner.
Well, guess what, guys? We have made our way to the grandstands here at Montgomery Motor Speedway, and we're sitting with Joey Clanton's family. He's got his grandmother here, actually 2 grandmothers. He's got his mother, his brother, his sisters, the wives, everybody, the children. And this guy right here, this is Joey's younger brother, Shane. He runs dirt late models. What do you think of your brother's performance here so far?
So far, he's doing pretty good. I hope this pit stop he just made tighten the car up a little bit so he can make a good run like he was at the beginning of the race.
You know what we want to know is, I've seen you run the dirt late models, but I want to know, are you the best brother driver?
I think I am. I know I am on dirt.
Oh, and I've seen these guys. They're very, very competitive. Went go-kart racing with them a couple weeks ago, and this guy and his brother Rusty both beat Joey, guys.
Ah.
But did they beat Dillner? Or do we have to ask that question?
Yeah, we watched Dillner last week on the go-kart. We don't have to ask that question.
Butch Miller currently running in the 4th position. He's got new tires along with just about everybody out there. Number 52 in the Myers Pontiac. You know, sometimes it's a dog's life, and sometimes that's not so bad. Here's Sandy Hank.
Butch Miller has a pit puppy, a mascot named Chelsea.
Come on, Chelsea. Come.
And when she's not at the practice sessions in pit lane, she's chilling out in the motor coach with Donna. She good luck charm for the team?
Oh, yeah, she sure is. She goes to a lot of the races.
Now, I understand another team is thinking about getting a Sheltie.
Oh, the 7 team's getting a little Chelsea, and I think it's on Monday.
Guess this good luck charm really works.
That's a pretty dog, I'll tell you that now. But it's had too many biscuits, I think.
They could be. Had a good breakfast. Sandy visited them earlier and found that out. But Butch Miller ready to do battle again. Now, the 12 car at the front there, Kenny Phillips, is first in the serial, but not in the race. He's way back down the list in terms of this race. Now, we've just passed the 161 lap plateau. What happened between laps 100 and 150? Well, there was a sensational battle for the lead between Gary St. Amant and Joey Clanton, the winner of 2 races this year. In fact, that front pair represents 3 victories out of 5 this year. And finally, Joey Clanton was able to slide down beneath. Meantime, Kevin Sawinski in the Texas Roadhouse machine was making a bold move forward, up from 19th on the grid, up to 3rd. The lead changed at the front, 83 against 7. And passing for 9th was Butch Miller. He's moved further up the track since then. And we go back to green and down into the corner. Kenny Phillips leads the serial. He'll probably give way relatively quickly, I would think, Buddy Baker. And Kevin Sawinski moving against Clanton right there behind him.
Well, Phillips is a lap down, and I'm sure when the leaders get up there, he'll stay on the bottom part of the racetrack and let them bypass on the outside. But we have a great race for 2nd right now. As long as they race like that, Phillips is able to hold on to that lead spot, although he be a lap down. But look at Sawinski underneath now as they come out of turn 2.
So Sawinski trying to move by Joey Clanton, and this would be very important to this race. Sawinski is pinned in behind the Kenny Phillips car, and now he's able to swing up, and also joining in there, Gary St. Amant down to the inside. He's attacking against 83. That is Joey Clanton, and maybe both of them are going to get through before this sorts out. Meantime, Phillips is still up there.
And the owner of that pretty little Sheltie, the 52 there, Butch Miller, also in the fight. Clanton's moving to the outside right now, not able to get down in the preferred line. He's losing spots.
Kevin Sawinski swings around Phillips now. Here comes Gary St. Amant. Butch Miller is through Clanton as well, and the 07, Brad Lemley, who's had a difficult weekend in large part, is out against the wall. Little smoke curling from beneath the hood, and the yellow flag flies one more time for the 7th time in this event as we work on leader lap 166.
And that car is right down on the racetrack also. Apparently he has some kind of problem with the suspension as he tries to get across. There's a lot of smoke coming out of the right side, right front of that car.
He's trying to make his way back to the pits. Pace car has been dispatched. Jim Hahn at the wheel. And the 07, you see, has been able to slide down behind the traffic. And there's damage to the right front of the car as we had expected. So under yellow once again at Montgomery. Sawinski is our leader. Stay there. The seat of government in the state of Alabama, nearby Montgomery. What a beautiful building that is in the sunshine of early summer, just a few miles from this racetrack, the Montgomery Motor Speedway, where ASA Racing 2001 has picked up its season with round number 6. There is the man on the point. The race leader for the moment after the round of pit stops is Chris Wimmer in the 05, followed by Wayne Anderson in the Jana-King Chevrolet in number 86. As the pace car pulls away and we get a green flag once again, they'll be under heavy pressure, though, right away. Dennis Lampman, number 19, runs third, then Gary St. Amant, then Clanton.
You can see Wayne Anderson's left front corner there. A lot of damage to that car, just flapping in the breeze. But luckily, aerodynamics are not that important here. Of course, they're important anywhere, but it will allow a good race car to continue on, even though you do have problems with the
I gave you the standings in the race. Wimmer, Anderson, Lampman, St. Amant, Clanton, then Frazier and Sawinski, Sauter, Miller, and Eddy in the top 10. However, there are more cars involved in them to get to 10th place because there is lap traffic spaced all through that group. This is real dicey and a real important part of the race.
And the one thing that's happening right now, even though these cars may not be as quick as Gary St. Amant, these guys that are trying to get back to the front, they're running the perfect line around the racetrack, and these cars are pretty evenly matched. So until the tires start to go away, you're pretty much hung up in traffic.
Now, number 19, Dennis Lampman in the Barricade Flasher Service Chevrolet. Last night in the qualifier started way at the back, and I'll tell you what, he had the best run of the year for him and to fight his way into the main event here. And now he's running in third and holding his own for the moment.
Absolutely. And, you know, we sometimes get caught up with the front battle, but there's battles all over the racetrack, and every one of these ASA drivers certainly deserve mention, and it's good to see them have their moment up front right now until this gets sorted out as Gary St. Amant now tries to get by Lampman as he runs a little bit wide, tires going away a little bit, and the cars with the fresh tires are now moving up towards the front.
Underneath goes Gary St. Amant, and then Joey Clanton in the 83, the repainted car for today. Napa Auto Parts, this sponsorship moves right through with him, so Lampman is shuffled back just a little bit as they clear the start-finish line, and St. Amant is now up to third.
The 05 right now, Chris Wimmer, this is the first lap that he's ever led in ASA racing. I know he's enjoying this, although it's probably going to be very brief.
Wildwood, Florida, the hometown of number 86, Wayne Anderson in the Jana-King Chevrolet, the 1999 All-Pro Series champion. This guy knows a little bit about winning car races.
Don't you think? And I tell you what, that car looks like it's been in a wreck already. It has, and it's continuing on. Mike Anderson doing a great job, but you can see these cars now. Tuttle on the outside, the 16 car there, the Seiko car, battling his way around the racetrack. These fresh tires are eating them alive right now.
Joey Clanton trying to track down the Gary St. Amant machine. Zaxby's Chicken is the other primary sponsor on the 83 car. Kevin Sawinski, number 21, closing down. He runs in the 5th spot, trying to get back to the point. Bob Dillner, you have more.
Kevin's wife is calculating fuel mileage right now. That's Tracy Sawinski. We're going to grab a hold of crew chief Mike Chaffee. Mike, a very tough pit stop for the Texas Roadhouse bunch, but you got a very fast race car.
Yeah, that's for sure. We got a really fast hot rod today. I feel bad. These guys work so hard. We practice all the time, but there's nothing like race experience. And the way these races have been going, it's one pit stop, so we really haven't been getting the experience. But they're working hard, and if we keep doing that, we're going to get our pit stops straightened out.
Kevin has a very fast car, hoping to break a near 2 full season winless drought here in ASA competition.
And he's right in the fight there. We should explain that a little further, I think, buddy. Last week in Cedar Rapids, he came in on the lead and one of the pit stop and came out well back and had to fight his way, and it kind of got him in a pickle. And today he's lost a few slots in that last round of pit stop. And again, if you have an inexperienced crew, it's going to take them maybe a second or two longer. That's it.
Exactly right. And right now you can see Wayne Anderson. He's running a good race. It's his first outing this year. Brand new car. They finished it up at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning up in Birmingham, Alabama. Drove down here. Just barely got some practice time, but he's doing a good job. But look at Clanton on the outside there, trying to pass by right now is Kevin Sawinski.
Sawinski and Clanton side by side for a moment there as Sawinski is taking fourth away from Joey Clanton. And look at Johnny Sauter down underneath Joey Clanton as well. I'll tell you what, he has picked up a seam and followed people through 4 or 5 times in this race.
Yeah, and Sawinski right now, he's just like a dog at feeding time right now. He's looking to the inside. He's ready to pounce. And right now, he's looking on the inside of Sawinski. You see, right now, the 9 car is the fastest race car out there. Johnny Sauter, he's caught Sawinski right now. And Gary St. Amant said, I got to get on and try to get out of here because Sawinski's closing in just inches apart. First, second, and third when they get all sorted out here.
Back to the leader, Chris Wimmer, 21-year-old out of Wausau, Wisconsin. Finished 9th at Cedar Rapids, was 9th here in this race last year and has in his career 20 late model wins. He knows a little bit about leading. He knows a lot about winning, and that's helping him right now.
Well, I've heard a lot of people praise the way that Chris Wimmer has come along, and you can see right now, not on the best of tires, still able to hold off these guys, and Wayne Anderson doing a great job. And this is their own configuration. It's not like all the other cars out there. They built this car themselves.
Give a call to Sierra Racing Products. They're helping Chris Wimmer along the way, and they deserve at least a mention here. The number 86 machine, Wayne Anderson, we mentioned Janet King. He's running in second, staying in second as Sauter moves around. Is he going to take third here away from St. Amant? Perhaps. He's got to take the high line to do it.
Well, he's got a great run up out of the corner, pulls even with Gary St. Amant now, trying to take over that third spot.
You know, a lot of folks that are short track racers or want to be short track racers are some of the best short track racers. They're finding their way to ASA. And I think perhaps Wayne Anderson is one of those. You know, third straight All-Pro race victory last Saturday. He's now the winningest driver in All-Pro Series history. That says volumes.
And if you ever meet his father, Dick Anderson, let me tell you, he hadn't lost a race in Florida this year.
Oh, and he bumps into Wimmer at the back, a little bit of a wiggle, and Anderson, the short track savvy veteran, is at the point, and now Sawinski has to go to the dirt to stay out of difficulty, and he holds on to a position. Wow.
And the real driving job there was Chris Wimmer. He got hit going in the corner there, fought his way up into loose stuff going into turn 1, regained control of that car and was able to continue on.
You know, you always think about guys waiting to the later part of a race to make their move. Is the time right and so on? In this kind of racing, the time is now, always.
Sawinski says 8 tires always corner better than 4. They got in there was a car there, he used him.
Let's go back and recap that whole sequence because it happened in about 3 corners. Gary St. Amant, meantime, is attacking against Wayne Anderson. Will stay with that, and he gets underneath him and picks up the lead. Will he make it stick? Let's watch this corner. Yeah, I think he's got him. Now let's go back, Buddy Baker.
Well, everybody going in. You see Wimmer right there on the outside. He's trying to regain control of that race car. He goes up in the loose stuff now. He's out of the throttle there. You can see Sawinski in there making contact, getting in the corner, bumping, slamming. Good short track racing. No harm, no foul. Everybody got through there.
Well, that had the makings of a big one, but everybody kept their head and drove through it. So now we have St. Amant on the point. Anderson back into second. Sawinski up to third. Johnny Sauter now runs fourth, then Butch Miller, then Clanton, then Eddie, then Garvey, and Wimmer shuffled all the way back into 9th position. There's Butch Miller, number 52. He has the number 11 machine of Mike Eddy on his hip. A duel of sorts among veterans there. A lot of victories represented among those 2 cars. Then Joey Clanton trying to fight his way back. Let's go down to Bob Dillon.
I'm down at Johnny Sauter's pit with crew chief Joe Shear. You said it ain't time to show the money yet, but it's getting close.
Yeah, we were seeing some excitement right there. Johnny wanted to lead some laps. I hope he ain't showing everything yet, but he wanted to get up there and lead a little bit.
Look, guys, all I have to say is, here comes Johnny.
Leader lap 195 is what we are working right now.
Here comes Johnny, and there goes St. Amant. He's not even in this picture. He's going down the back straightaway while these guys are negotiating turn 3.
He is driven away from the field with Anderson in second, fighting off Kevin Sawinski at the moment, and Sauter's right there, and he's jumped right on the back bumper of Kevin Sawinski. And will they both sail through? They have. So second place changes, third place changes. Anderson moves back a couple of spots.
Anderson in trouble. The tires are giving up on that car. He's sliding it around the racetrack as Butch Miller moves in the 52 just behind him. Forward bite on short track is so important. From the center of the corner to the straightaway. That's where the races are won.
Coming up on 2/3 distance in the event, working leader lap 197 of 300. It's the Actionline 300 from Montgomery Motor Speedway. I'm Chris McClure. He's Buddy Baker. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to Montgomery. There's your race leader, Gary St. Amant, making a bid for his second victory of this campaign.
Yeah, just look right behind him. Kevin Sawinski has turned it up a notch. He's running down Gary St. Amant. What was a full straightaway lead right now is down to about 5 car lengths.
Sawinski, as we've mentioned so frequently, I know he's tired of hearing about it, but he hasn't won a race since the end of 1997. He's been so close so very many times, but the frustration continues to build. Although I think, you know, he's kept a pretty cool head about it. When you get real frustrated, you can start pressing, and I don't think he presses too much.
Not exactly. You're exactly right. What he does, he goes out there, he only wants to lead one lap, that being the last one. But when you see, when he really gets after people, he knows how to win. And that same year, 1997, he was also the ASA champion, so he knows how to get the job done. And he has great sponsorship. He has Scott Lefevre that owns the race car. And I think he and Mike Garvey are great teammates. He's got everything there. He'll win.
Number 86, that's Wayne Anderson. We were watching him a while ago on the point, albeit briefly. He's got handling problems. There he slides a little bit, and he's got left front damage. You can see that bodywork flapping in the wind. Sandy Hanges.
I'm with this crew chief Augie Grill right now. Is that bodywork causing any problem for him?
No, it's not affecting Wayne at all. We're just a little loose right now because we didn't take lefts that last time around to try to get some track position.
Okay, that's part of their strategy, guys. They've only had 2 stops while a lot of the other cars have had 3 and 4.
Well, you know, we look at our chart, Buddy Baker. We see that Sawinski's got enough time in the pits to get rights and lefts. So did St. Amant, Butch Miller. I believe Joey Clanton took rights a couple of times. And Johnny Sauter got left-hand tires as well as rights. So a lot of the folks in front of Anderson right now have that advantage.
And we also noticed that Mike Eddy one time when he stopped took on only rear tires, trying to hook the back of the car back up where he got that great forward bite up out of the corner. Then the next pit stop, he did change the right front. So, yeah, a lot of strategy going on right now.
And that's what everybody had anticipated, that it would be the story of the race. Tire management, how you change them, how quickly you do it. Everybody out there had mounted up tires on every wheel they had. We do know that. Some of the teams said that they had scheduled 3 changes on the right and at least 2 changes on the left.
I know one thing. Whatever they did to Kevin Sawinski's car, I would like that kind of adjustment every time I was driving out there because the car looks flawless right now. Able to really rock it up out of the corner. And as he enters the corner, he seems to close in from just about this point. You see him close in less than, well, he's only inches back as they start off turn 4 there, but drops back a little down the straightaway now into the corner. He'll gain right in this area.
Directly in front, the number 2 machine, the Wood Brothers Racing Ford of Chad Wood, and he takes the middle line there, at least as he enters the straightaway, gives him plenty of room, and both St. Amant and Sawinski are able to swing through. Now, Butch Miller will have to accomplish that, running from 3rd position, and there you see Butch flashing into the frame. He's going to have to do that perhaps a half lap or so from now.
Butch Miller looks awfully good now. Kind of clean air back here where he's at right now. Not a lot of lap traffic around him as he is closing in there on the 2 car.
And we have a battle for 4th position. Sauter, the 9 machine, on the hip of Mike Garvey. Garvey's trying to take the spot away from him, and he may have it done, although it's not a done deal just yet. Wait till they get into and through this corner.
It's done right there. As he picks the throttle up from the center out, that's where the good cars that are really hooked up accelerate.
Okay, Bob Dillner.
Maybe a little trouble for Johnny Sauter. We've been talking about how hot it is here in Montgomery, Alabama today, and how hot it is inside those race cars. Well, right now, Johnny Sauter's feet are burning him up. When they come in for the next round of pit stops, they are going to dump a bunch of ice on John. They are oh so hot inside that car right now.
It gets terribly hot, and Buddy, you can speak to that. Inside the car, it's tough.
Well, your heels are right on the floorboard, and of course the exhaust system goes back under. It'll melt the shoe that you have on your right foot because it's right on the floor, and all you do is up and down on the throttle, but your heel never moves, and it'll blister it in a heartbeat.
Now, we're watching a battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th. That's Mike Eddy, Mike Miller, David Stremme. And it is behind in 6th is Eddy, then Miller, then Stremme. Miller Won the race with a late change of tires last year. He's fought his way up into contention along with Eddie and Stremme. This could be a fight that has a lot to do with who takes that checkered flag.
Yeah, and we're watching Joey Clanton in the 83 right there, dropping back. I don't know what's happened. We did get reports earlier in the race that he has a little bit of a mess in the car, and he's not as good as he was the first part of the race. Whether he has a problem or not, we'll know in a little while, but you're exactly right. These guys go out there, they set a pace, and all of a sudden you get a lot of competition around you. You're trying to run a perfect line, and somebody sails in under you, you go on the outside, it breaks your rhythm. It takes a couple laps to get back going like you want to go.
Mike Miller in the middle of that sandwich. Eddie, the yellow number 11, Meyer sponsorship, and number 22, David Stremme. He's out of South Bend, Indiana. Herzog Motorsports invited him to come to Cedar Rapids. They're kind of running tryouts on that team. He ran 5th. So last Tuesday they called him up and said, how'd you like to come to Alabama? And he said, well, okay, that's fine. And he is here, but he has a different car beneath him this week. That is the car that young Mr. Dismore started with earlier this year. So same guy, same team, Herzog, but a different car this week, and he's doing just fine with it.
Also the same team that Toby Porter drove for earlier in the year, number 44. Great race cars. And I tell you, this kid has a lot. I think David Stremme has a tremendous amount of driving talent.
And joining up in that fight, by the way, the blue car there just behind number 22 by a couple of car lengths. That is 25, Mike Cope. He is moving into that fight, which is becoming a 4-way battle for the 6th position. There's the race leader, Gary St. Amant. There you see the space back to Kevin Sawinski, who is now under increasing attack from Butch Miller.
I think the 21 of Sawinski might have got the red off his candy there. I mean, right now he's dropping back. Gary St. Amant's moving forward. Butch Miller's caught him. I think he might have just pushed those tires just a little too much when they dropped the green flag back.
Very delicate game they play with tire management here at Montgomery. Abrasive track, hard tire compound. They're all doing the best they can. We'll see how they continue in a moment. We're in Montgomery working leader lap 231. Gary St. Amant has now led 39 consecutive laps, and we've been green since lap 169. St. Amant on the point. Laps 150 to 200. Well, Sawinski was the leader at the beginning of that 50-lap segment as he fought through Joey Clanton. We got a caution flag, the last one we have had in this race. Brad Lemley into the wall a little bit later on as he bumped into the wall, bringing out that caution in the 07 car. He was able to drive that machine back to the pits under his own power. Meantime, the leaders took that opportunity to come into the pits. Sawinski bailed out the turn, made the left turn. So did Butch Miller and all the rest. In fact, during that period of time, many of them were able to turn right and left-handed tires before they went back to green. And then it was Wayne Anderson, number 86, for the first time, the point for the first time, the point for the first time in his career. Anderson gave him a bump, took the point into the next corner. A little bit of a schlemazel as Sawinski had to go to the dirt. And finally, Gary St. Amant got through into the lead, where he now stands as we review the entire field for you. Buddy Baker on lap 234 of 300. Down to the tough part of it. Heat's got to be a factor. Tires certainly are, and a lot of other things.
Yeah, patience are getting a little worn right now. As you start getting into lap traffic, your tires are giving up. You're starting to slide a little more than you want to. You can't get back in the throttle. The leader, like Gary St. Amant, a master on a slick racetrack, moving away, it kind of aggravates you. And then when you have to pull in all your knowledge, say, okay, cool those tires down, then make a run on him. And I think that might be what Sawinski's done. I think he dropped back a little bit, cool those tires. But while he did that, Mike Garvey, his teammate, ran right up behind him. So Sawinski in second, Mike Garvey, you're right with him. You can see Sawinski slide just a little bit coming out of turn 2. This is down the back straightaway, off into turn 3, right on the grass now. Garvey a little quicker right there. He runs right up on Sawinski as they exit turn 4.
Mike Garvey, third in the points this year. He's been really consistent, save one outing, the second race of the season out west at Irwindale. He finished 31st, but all of his other 4 finishes have been in the top 3. That's not bad. And here he comes against Sawinski. Garvey moving through Sawinski, so what you thought was about to transpire has come to pass.
Absolutely. Mike Garvey likes the hard tire, says it suits his driving style, because he likes to lean on the car a little bit, but he knows how to take care of his tires. Won 3 races last year. This year, already a winner. Hey, he's a winner, period.
Yeah, well, he was on on pole in this event here last year. Got in trouble very early in the event. Ran for points, many, many laps down. Finished about half of the race in terms of laps completed after an accident. Took him to the pits for a good long time. So maybe he feels like the track owes him one.
Boy, that was a great shot as Sawinski was going in the corner. The front valence of that car, the nose section of it, right on the pavement. So no air gets under it. So it's really, hey, Garvey, hey, Garvey, hey. You can tell he's not on Sunday afternoon ride up there. That car a little bit slippery also coming up out of the corner.
So Garvey pulling slightly away from his teammate Kevin Sawinski, and Butch Miller closing up on Sawinski a little bit as we look at the wide shot down the back straightaway. Miller's not quite there yet, but he may not. There he comes into the frame, and there you see the spacing, and it's about equal, maybe 6 car lengths between St. Amant, the leader, and Garvey, and then equal space second, third, and fourth. Garvey, Sawinski, and Miller, and then there's Johnny Sauter, who has got a little bit of a problem on the right front. It looks at least some tire marks there. And 6th place belongs to last year's winner in this race, Mike Miller, who had that sensational ride a week ago at Cedar Rapids. Bob Dillner.
Well, I just ran down here to Mike Miller's pit because crew chief Carl Heinlein just said he needed a little relief. It's very, very hot here, so we'll pour a little water down his back. You know, you need the relief, but your driver doesn't. He's running 6 right now.
You're right, Bob. I tell you what, Mike's got his cool suit cooler on. I need mine. I tell you what, that's air conditioning with TNN pop right there, no doubt.
Well, here you go. Here's some more water for you.
Mike Miller moving up on the 86 car of Wayne Anderson. Now that's to put Anderson a lap behind Mr. Miller.
And Mike Miller started 36 last week, worked his way up to 6th. A great run, went to the rear of the field twice and worked back to the front. And I tell you, he's you talk about a professional race car driver. He's been here many a time, knows what's going on, and has a great crew chief. We just talked to him, and he knows how to make that car good for long runs, and Mike Miller knows how to drive it.
And he had to struggle with qualifying, had to get through the qualifying race, started 20th, but now he's running well within the top 10. Back at the point, Gary St. Amant, he's got Garvey right on his hip. He's got traffic all around. Dicey moment, important part of the race with 57 laps to go.
Yeah, they call him the pit bull, and you can see why. Mike Garvey in the 1 car, just right on the back of St. Amant as they go down the back straightaway. But Kevin Sawinski, don't count him out. He's right there. If they have any contact whatsoever, he can be leading.
Also right there is Butch Miller as they kind of compress down as they work through the traffic. Scott Frazier right now just in front of Gary St. Amant in the 00 car. That white car you see in that serial. Duff McDonald, the chief on that King Freightline Chevrolet. Sandy Hank.
Well, right now I just talked to Jim Caputo, who is the crew chief for Butch Miller. Here is the strategy. If they get another caution, they are ready to put right side tires on. If not, Butch is prepared to go to the end for track position and stay out there. But obviously their preference is a caution. And you can see Donna, his wife, is just slowly waiting it out.
Still working with traffic. St. Amant, Garvey, Sawinski, Butch, all 4 of them right there. They come around on Kenny Phillips one more time.
247 laps into this event, and these cars are just nose to tail. That's what ASA short track racing is all about. It comes down to less than a car length every week as to who wins. And I will tell you, first 6 cars are right there. Right now, the first 3 nose to tail as they come up out of turn 4.
To illustrate your point, Buddy Baker, we've got 4 winners in 5 races so far this year. Nobody's won by more than a second. Last time, Johnny Sauter from pole to the victory, it was less than 3/10 of a second in margin of victory. And that's just typical. That's the way it works every week. Let's go back to Bob Dillon.
Well, we're down here at Mike Garvey's pit with crew chief Bon Suss. Buddy Baker was just talking about how Mike likes the hard compound tires. How's he like it out there right now?
We were a little bit off at the beginning there. We had to tighten it up with a little bit of sway bar. Finally got the car pretty good, but you know, these hard tires are pretty much what we ran last year. We can use a lot of old setups that we had. You know, the medium tires, what we ran on up till now, and we're still working with that. But Mike's doing a good job on that GM Vortec power comes to Chevrolet, and I think we'll be up front the rest of the day.
You know what, guys? You don't want to mess with that number 1 car.
He's doing his work. There's no question about that. Running in the second position. St. Amant just in front, then Sawinski, Miller, and Sauter. So the top 5 remains unchanged. He said there, Buddy, that it was a tire just about what they ran last year. It's the exact tire.
Well, what they're talking about, the harder compound, is the one they run on this type of racetrack where they know the wear is going to be severe. At South Boston, they ran what they call a medium compound. And a lot of their notes are not really active for the medium compound. It's almost like a tennis shoe against a dress shoe as far as the way it contacts the racetrack. The softer tire gets a little better grip, but these last a lot longer, and it takes a lot of driving style to keep a harder tire going for a long time.
Look at the relative speeds there as we pick up the last lap. St. Amant at 83.5 and Garvey at 84.085. He's the fastest car on the racetrack right now, keeping the pressure up, and Gary St. Amant has to force his car to go quicker than maybe he would like, using his tires maybe harder than he would like. But if he's going to stay in front of Garvey, he has no choice.
And the real problem is just in front of them, lap traffic, and they're starting to move into some pretty heavy traffic. As you see Russ Tuttle in the 16 car, the Conseco car there, going through the corner. And a lot of people, right, Stewart right there, up against the outside wall as we picked him up coming out of turn 4.
He washed out all the way up to the wall. Don't think he touched anything. No move by the flag man to go to yellow. We stay under green, and we're at lap number 255. Stay right there. This is going to be something. Welcome back to Montgomery. We have another lead change in the Actionline 300. Mike Garvey has gotten by Gary St. Amant. He's now working with traffic. The 19 just below Garvey on the course is Dennis Lampman. And then the 7 machine, the Wins car of St. Amant, is trying to get around him. Let's watch how it happened.
Okay, right there, they run up on Johnny Spa in the yellow car, and you could see Garvey just got on the low side of the racetrack and just jets by the number 7 there of Gary St. Amant.
So he picks up the lead on, well, we're on leader lap 264. That was a couple of laps ago. And now Garvey is just driving away from everybody. Meantime, Eddie and Joey Clanton and Stremme, and they bump side by side, Clanton and Stremme, as they move into the corner. And Eddie has the position. That is 7. It was a 3-way fight just a moment ago as we picked it up for the 7th position. Now that has spread out after a little bit of slight contact, it looked like.
Yeah, and they know that Mike Garvey is less than a straightaway behind them. Mike Eddy and these guys had to get going because the leader right now, Mike Garvey, is flying around this racetrack.
As we mentioned, working leader lap 265, Garvey on the point. What about 201 to 250? Well, Kevin Sawinski closing in on Gary St. Amant at that point. That was a fight for the lead between the two of them. And 52 also closing in. We had Mike Miller and Mike Eddy and also Stremme in a 1-2-3 battle. That was for top 10 position. And number 25, Mike Cope, who slowed down just a moment ago as we were watching him, fighting off Joey Clanton in a battle for 9th during that 50-lap segment. Mike Garvey, a pass for position 2. He did it against his teammate in the Texas Roadhouse machine. Tecumseh takes the upper hand and second place. That was on lap 236. And then Garvey started closing in on St. Amant. He made a battle of it, a fight for first position for about 40 laps, keeping the pressure up. And finally, a few moments ago, he slid through into the top spot.
That was what I was telling you, that lap traffic, you really have to time that. When you get near the end of the race, and it really matters to make the pass, you try to set it up where you have momentum when you catch lap traffic. And he did just that. Mike Garvey took the lead because of lap traffic.
And he's put one lapped car between himself and St. Amant. He had for a moment with Chris Wimmer in the 05 passed, but he's not going to have anything to do with it. He's trying to stay in contact with the lead lap of this race.
Oh, contact.
And we get contact between the two of them. And look at St. Amant. It's a wide straightaway here, and St. Amant trying to do back to Garvey what he had done to him.
Wow, I'm telling you right there, that was nail-biting time. Mike Garvey, very lucky. Got hit pretty good coming out of turn 4 as there's a lot of rubber buildup on the outside of the groove there, and had he got all 4 tires up there, he would have washed right into the wall. Yellow flag.
Yellow flag. We've gone 100 laps under the green since the last yellow came out. It is a competition yellow under provisions in the rule book. They will slow everybody down with 30 laps to go. We're at lap 270. Leader lap 271 is being worked right now, and the race leader, Mike Garvey, along with all the rest of them, St. Amant, Sawinski, Miller, Sauter, Mike Miller, Stremme, Clanton, Eddy, and Spa, the top 10, they will all bunch up, slow down, and then we'll see who wants tires, who doesn't, what side they want them, and when they want them. It's a very important moment in this race for all those concerned, Buddy Baker.
Yes, and the competition yellow was very, very important. They had been long enough that the tires had to be just worn completely out, and for safety's sake, that competition yellow was well appreciated by all the competitors.
Well, we both saw tires that came off cars in the qualifying race last night after a 100-lap run, and they were in pretty tough condition. Let's go to the pit. Sandy Hang.
Well, right now, Butch Miller's crew, Chip Caputo, the crew chief, they're standing by to take on 2 right side tires. This was part of the strategy. They were planning on multiple pit stops here, and they did want another caution, and here he is. He is at the pit entrance, so he will be the first car that comes in. He's in, he's stopped, as you can see. Jackman comes up. They're taking on those 2 right side tires. They moved it around. They're also making sure they clean the front grille because of the possibility of overheating situation right now. Let's go down to Bob.
Motion very, very high down here at Mike Garvey's pit. Whoa, he almost hits a tire carrier coming off of pit road. But Mike Garvey, a great stop. Right side tires. He off of pit road first out of this whole group that pitted.
At the end of the pits, the stop sign is up as the rest of the field clears. Garvey, St. Amant, Sawinski, Johnny Sauter, all have been given the go. There goes Mike Miller and then Butch Miller, but Garvey did get out first. Right sides for Butch, right sides for Garvey, right sides for St. Amant. They went the front for Joey Clanton. They fixed his hood. Rears, the second time in the race that Mike Eddy went for back tires, and Sawinski took right-hand tires, and so did Johnny Sauter as we charted it here. Mike Garvey had a little trouble in the pits just a second ago. We take a look as his crew is working, and a crewman falls down. They got everything clear. I don't think he ran over anything, buddy.
Falling, and remember to get that hose out of the way.
Yep.
Jerked it out from underneath the car so they wouldn't get a penalty there. Heads up in the pits.
And now all the lap traffic gets their turn in the pits, and we have David Stremme out there on the course as well, and Tim J is in the pits. So the rest of them are all going to the pits, and we check on the course who didn't come in. Well, Landman didn't come in. The number 33 car, Greg Stewart, stayed out there, so that'll make it a little dicey at the front. And a couple of tires loose. I don't know where all those came from on pit road, but they clean up all that extra paraphernalia. Back in Montgomery, we're about to go green coming off the competition yellow. We have 25 laps to go in the event. Mike Garvey is the leader, St. Amant second, then Sawinski. The teammates, Garvey and Sawinski, racquetball buddies, but right now it's every man for himself. Every man for himself and no team orders. Who gets there first is up to the best driver. Right now, Gary St. Amant and all those guys are pushing and shoving as Kevin Sawinski looks to the inside. Stewart there in the 33 having trouble. Sawinski makes the pass there on Gary St. Amant. And look at the 9 car right now of Johnny Sauter. He's coming on against St. Amant, looking for third position. Greg Stewart's car, the number 33, cleared turn 2 and got down on the low side in the back straightaway. And along comes Mike Miller, last year's winner in the 18 car. Hey, this is a long ways from over. These guys have turned it up a notch. Gary St. Amant right now caught outside the groove. I know he wants to get back down low as Butch Miller looks to take that spot if Mike Miller can make the pass here. Mike Miller continues to work on him as we watch from Butch Miller's car, and Butch may slide under St. Amant as well. Mike Miller has gone through cleanly. Butch Miller, can he do it? They're in the middle of the corner right now. Now on the concrete, they'll hook up and get off the corner. They really can get off on that concrete patch there if the car's working right. David Stremme also coming along. In the 22 car there, making a good effort here late in the race. So Stremme making a bid as the number 7 machine of St. Amant is shuffled back further and further. And look at the fight at the front. It is Garvey and Sawinski, and right behind them, Johnny Sauter, who won a race last week. He's running in third at the moment, and certainly a contender. Garvey on the point. They got a little bit of traffic to deal with on the straight. The traffic clears away, and it's clean into turn 1.
Well, Garvey won in Lakeland this year, the second race out, but or third race out, but I will tell you one thing. Sawinski hadn't won in a long, long time. Look for him to give it every effort he possibly can.
St. Amant shuffled back into 6th position, and it's being contested by David Stremme from behind. Eddie, who took rear tires on that pit stop, and then planted in both. That rounds out the top 10. The teammates, the Tecumseh Chevrolet and the Texas Roadhouse Chevrolet, breaking away just a little bit from Johnny Sauter. It's a 2-car fight, at least for the moment.
And Gary St. Amant dropped all the way to 7th spot in the 7-car just by going a little bit wide there. Mike Miller now looking on the inside of Sauter as they head down there.
They get together. Johnny Sauter checks up to the wall goes Garvey. Sawinski able to continue.
And Mike Miller comes out with the lead going down the back straightaway, coming towards the caution.
Mike Miller sings into the lead. There's Sawinski, who continued. Sauter drops back a little bit as he checked up to avoid the contact. Number 52, Butch Miller, in there as well. And a big turn of events at lap number 284. And last year's winner, Mike Miller, who started back in 20th grid spot this year, is on the point.
And Mike Garvey has some damage to the rear of that car. You can see near the spoiler parts of that race car on the back, right along in this area, he has a lot of damage there.
He will not come in. He will stay on the track. We'll wait until the scoring system sorts it out and see how far back he fell. Now, this is similar to the fate that befell Kevin Sawinski a week ago in Cedar Rapids. He was the victim of some late race contact as a contender. He wasn't on the point at the time, but it took him out of any chance to win.
But what about Mike Miller? Heads up there. The minute there was contact, he just goes to the bottom of the racetrack and just drives right on by.
Let's go back and relive that moment. Here they come. They're at the stripe. It's a clean run into the corner, but here the contact starts.
Well, and right there, Sawinski's in a place where he can't go any lower. He's in the dirt almost. He tries to correct the car, but while he does that, Mike Miller just goes right on by on the bottom side. You see Mike Garvey gets the left side of his car into the wall.
And it looked as though they were moving through turn number 2, that Miller and Sawinski might have grazed each other. Here's another angle of it. Let's take a look as they clear the traffic.
You can see Sawinski in the dirt there. That really caused the wreck because he couldn't stick in the dirt. Look at Mike Miller, though, right on by.
he just tucked it down on that low line one more time.
Watch when he hits the dirt right here. There's no traction whatsoever when you're on the dirt like that. He absolutely did not mean to get into Garvey, but look at Miller.
And they slide by, and I don't think they touched each other, Sawinski and Miller. You know, Sawinski was in that dirt earlier in the race, in the middle of a dice with Johnny Sauter at that point, and several others that were around him. 286 laps are done. We're on 287. We're under yellow. Let's watch it from Garvey's car. And listen.
You can hear the rev limiter there, the 21 now. Goes down right here. They're coming down the front straightaway now. He's just about up to the quarter panel. They make a little contact, a lot there. Here goes Garvey.
And he just nestled into the wall, a little bit of a crunch. One more time we look at it. This is from Sawinski's car. That's Sauter. There's Butch Miller. Yep. Mike Miller's already gone. So still under the yellow. Let's reset the top 5. Miller, Mike, last year's race champion here. He's up to first from the 20th starting spot. Let's go to Bob Dylan.
Trouble between teammates, obviously, in that accident. What did Mike say about the deal?
Not much. You know, we're racing real hard with Kevin. He's racing for the win. We're racing for the win. We're not going to give an inch, and neither is he. And, you know, we'll just do whatever we can. We're 9th place now, still on the lead lap. We'll get back towards the front best we can.
That was a very politically correct answer, because I can tell you this, Mike Garvey was not a happy camper inside that car when he came in to change 2 right side tires.
Bob Dillner, I know you're right, and I tell you, I don't want to be on the court with them when they start playing racquetball this week.
And we get the green, working leader lap 288, 13 to go, less than that now, and into turn number 1 they go. Mike Miller, the veteran, on the point. Number 18, the Janiking Pontiac, a guy with 16 career victories, second in points in 1999. His last win was at Montgomery a year ago. tomorrow.
Absolutely, and you can see right now it's time. The dress rehearsal, as they say, is over. This is showtime, and Mike Miller out the corner, not as quick as Sawinski. He's going to have to earn this victory because Sawinski has definitely turned it up a notch in the center part of the corner, a little bit quicker right there when they get back in the throttle.
So Sawinski right on his tail. We're about to complete lap number 290. There are 10 to go. Mike Miller led 21 laps last year. If he wins this, he won't lead that many this year.
Well, I tell you one thing, that car looked awful good off turn 2 just then as they head down in turn 3. Sawinski's good in this end, but there's a race for third back there. You can see Butch Miller getting a lot of heat there as he moved up on the 9 car of Sauter as they went down in the corner.
So a battle for third shaping up, and these two people are the primary contestants we're concerned with. Kevin Sawinski looking back there now at the Sauter car. There's Butch Miller, then Gary St. Amant up to 5th position, but St. Amant's car showing signs a while ago of just having abandoned his effort, really, kind of going out from underneath him. David Stremme is also there right behind St. Amant.
Absolutely. I got an idea he may stay in that 22 car for a little while. Stremme has done an excellent job and stayed out of trouble all day. But the front two made a little contact getting into turn 3. Kevin Sawinski got in there a little bit better into the corner and made a little contact on the back of the Miller car.
And they pick up some traffic, turns 1 and 2. I think that was number 55 there just in front, Greg Williams. They've gotten through him, and the rest of them do. Mike Miller on the point, stretches out a little bit into the corner, and we're working on lap 294. Less than 7 till the end of this 300 lapper in Montgomery. It's round 6 of the $6 million ASA AC-Delco Series for 2001. At stake, a posted award for all of them of $186,000.
Sawinski just dives to the bottom and takes the lead there. Miller couldn't do a thing. Sawinski drove about 3 car lengths deeper in the corner. What about this?
Tracy, finally something to really shout about, and Mike Miller dropping back a little bit after he was passed by Kevin Sawinski. So it's Sawinski, Miller, then Sauter in third, and then Butch Miller as they move down the back straightaway. Sawinski drawn away.
About 5 car lengths right now, but as Miller dropped back, he jumped into grasp now the 9 car. Sauter moves up on Miller.
So the battle for second is the one that seems most important. Maybe the battle for third as Butch Miller attacks against Johnny Sauter. We go on board with Butch. At the other end of the straightaway already is Kevin Sawinski, looking to break a drought of victories that stretches back to the end of 1997. St. Amant has ideas of moving by Butch Miller. He moves up north toward the wall. Sawinski, Miller, Sauter, Miller, and St. Amant the top 5. Then David Stremme, but he's dropped back a little bit. Butch Miller nearly drives right into the back of Johnny Sauter. They were very, very close.
And Sawinski's looking to the outside right now because he knows these guys are not going to give up the bottom part of the racetrack. Sauter down the back straightaway right now, riding with Butch Miller as they head into turn 3.
Now Mike Miller, with traffic assisting from the front, pulls right up on the back of Sawinski as the white flag comes out. 299 are done. 300 is the magic number. He's less than a lap away.
And hadn't won in quite a while right now. Sawinski, but Miller pulls up and looks to the inside of Sawinski going into turn 3.
2 corners left. Mike Miller down low on the track. So is Sawinski defending his position. He straightens it up down the straight. He takes the checkered flag. Third place will go to Johnny Sauter. Butch Miller, I think, crossed in 4th. Then Gary St. Amant. What a dash to the wire as Kevin Sawinski has broken through.
Boy, I tell you what, 3rd place there was contested.
Checkered is out. Bob Dillner's in the pits.
A big celebration down here. Tears of joy from Tracy Sawinski. Congratulations. After a long drought, you finally got it.
Texas Roadhouse Chevrolet Vortec powered car was wonderful. Want to thank Scott, Favor Racing, everybody. We've been waiting a long time for this, so Kevin did an awesome job, and I'm just really excited.
I can tell you're just overwhelmed.
Oh, I gotta go.
I'll tell you what, we'll let her go to victory lane. Tracy Sawinski heading there. Kevin Sawinski's first win in over 2 full ASA seasons.
There he is, number 21. It will be career win number 8, the 97 ASA champion, with his crew chief from that year. They've been knocking on the door. They finally kicked the door in. We'll be back to talk to him in a minute. ASA Racing from Montgomery is brought to you by B.F. Goodrich Tires. Take control. And by Fram Filters. Pay a little more now or pay a lot later. We have a verdict in the Actionline 300 at Montgomery. Let's go to Bob Dillner.
Kevin Sawinski talking to Mike Miller here in Victory Lane. Kevin Sawinski's first win in quite some time in ASA competition. A very, very happy man. Woo! We're getting a little doused here in Victory Lane. Kevin getting a bath, a well-deserved one on a very hot day. Kevin, congratulations, finally.
Thank you. You know, this Vortec Monte Carlo was awesome all day. I got to give credit to my crew. They got me in and out all day. They stood behind me. The driver messed up yesterday qualifying, and I said, guys, this thing is awesome. Leave it alone. And I'll tell you what, I feel great for Texas Roadhouse, Vortec, all the guys behind us. You know, we've had good cars all year, and finally we got one.
Well, the crew just doused you, but we got to check out this uniform. Obviously, little tussle between he and Mike Garvey in the first turn. That's how dirty he got from all the dirt coming up in that little tussle. Talk about that a little bit for me.
Well, you know, it's too bad for Mike. He had a really good car, but, you know, with 15 to go or 20 to go, whatever it is, we had to get going, and we had a good car, and we got underneath Mike coming off of 4 here, and we got in to get underneath him, and he come down. I went through the dirt hoping that he'd kind of move up for me, and he didn't. And when I got down in the dirt, we got together. You know, I feel bad for Mike. I'd like to run 1-2 today.
And then quite a battle with Mike Miller for that lead.
I'll tell you what, Mike, I was nervous. I didn't see him all day, and then all of a sudden I couldn't catch him. And finally he started slipping a little bit, and I got a good run on him. And, you know, Mike's a great racer. He gave me a good groove on the inside. And there at the end, I don't know if I was all bound up or what, but I was just hanging on. I see Mike come back, but, you know, he's a great racer, and I appreciate the way he ran me today.
Go give a hug to your wife, Tracy. She's well-deserving of that. Sandy?
Well, I'm here with the second-place finisher, Mike Miller. Started 20th, finished second. You're now ASA's newest $1 million man, career earnings of $1 million. What a race you put on there.
Well, I'd like to thank Jenny King and Vortec. I mean, we had a pretty good car, especially on the long greens. I could have cut Kevin off there and gone for the win, or I could have roughed him up a little bit there on the last lap, but I got to race with him another 14 races this year, and Kevin's a good guy, and, you know, he deserved to win.
In this case, and look at, he's got an entourage here, of course, and his wife Judy steps in here too. Bob?
Well, we're here with the new rookie point leader in ASA. Congratulations, Johnny Sauter. Another good run for you and this team.
Yeah, it sure is. I just want to thank everybody at GM. Vortec Powered Car was awesome today. AP Plasman. AP Performance Racing guys did an awesome job in the pits today. I'm just super proud of them, and we'll take a third. I mean, we've had awesome cars all year, and hopefully this will keep the streak alive.
Family, it's all what it's about here in ASA. Johnny Sauter with a win last week, at third place this week. Your new rookie point leader, showing a lot of patience here in ASA.
Terrific couple of weeks for him, no question about that. The winner, Kevin Sawinski, his 8th career victory, but the first he's been able to record since the end of the 97 season. Although he's taken a couple of years off during that time, it still was a frustrating time for him. Then Miller and Sauter and the rest of them down the list. Buddy Baker, a most entertaining day of racing.
A typical ASA short track race, bump, grind, push, shove, little tempers here and there, but I will promise you one thing, you never leave an ASA race bored.
Not at all, as they put on a show from start to finish. Everybody did their job extremely well in terms of the pit work, the tire management, and the yellows were managed properly, and I found that to be the most entertaining race of the year thus far. And for Kevin Sawinski, 19th to 1st, that's a sensational performance. And for Mike Miller in second, 20th to 2nd. Johnny Sauter started outside the top 10 as well. What a great day of racing it has been. Buddy?
And he has to be very, very pleased, Sawinski, not to have to answer that question, when are you going to win? He has.
Yeah, he has, and he'll try and make it 2 in a row next time out when we go to Concord in 2 weeks' time for round 7 of the 2001 ASA AC-Delco Series. On behalf of Sandy Hang in the pits, Bob Delner also working in the pits, I'm Chris McClure, and with Buddy Baker in the booth, it has been our pleasure to bring you this latest edition of ASA Racing on TNN. Be sure and join us again next time. And once again, congratulations to the top three and the rest, Sawinski, Miller, and Sauter in Montgomery.